Welcome to your channel Moroccan Food, specializing in Moroccan cuisine, with its delightful dishes, and lovely and varied recipes. In addition to the varieties of tagine, for Moroccan taste, there is the most famous plate, which is couscous. Moroccan cooking is also the different types of pastels, as well as the delicious taste of traditional Moroccan cakes. The Moroccan gastronomy is of course the different types of local salads, without forgetting the mint tea or tea with various other flavors. Please do not forget to like and share the video. And we will be pleased if you subscribe to the channel so you can get the Moroccan Food Channel news. Tajines are preparations of Berber origin based on meat or vegetables. The name comes from the terracotta and conical lid container in which they are cooked. The steam condenses and slowly springs the dish, concentrating flavors and perfumes. Tajines are the most dominant dishes in Moroccan restaurants and hotels. A precious advice for the tagine: to preserve it and to use it for a long period. When you buy it for the first time, you should put it in water about overnight. After that, you add a little oil inside it for about 6 hours, then you clean it. As a reminder, to get special tagine dishes, it should be cooked on a low heat. Tagine with vegetables and meat in a simple way with a detailed explanation. Let's follow together the ingredients and the preparation process. Seasoning is the basis of this dish. It is better to respect the ingredients. 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of ginger, half a teaspoon of white or black pepper. White pepper is recommended. A little national saffron rubbed with the palm of the hand until the maximum flavor was extracted. 1 teaspoon and a half of salt, or as appropriate for each. 1 tablespoon of chopped parsley and cilantro, saving a little for garnish. 3 finely chopped garlic cloves. 6 tablespoons of water. Mix these ingredients together until they are smooth. No oil to add, as it slows down the spices absorption by the meat. You will need 1 kilogram of beef. It can be replaced by any type of red or white meat. The meat should be marinated so that the pieces of meat are sufficiently soaked in the spices. The longer the time, the more the meat absorbs the spices, and it is better to leave it for at least half an hour. Cover all the mixture and keep it until the meat engrosses the spices. If the period exceeds more than 30 minutes, it is suggested to put it in the refrigerator. Once the tagine is ready, in order to be optimally cooked, it is recommended not to place it directly on the fire, but rather to place an iron plate between the tagine and the fire. At this phase, the fire should be medium. Once the tagine is warmed, add 4 tablespoons of olive oil and vegetable oil mixture. Now you add the pieces of meat marinated in spices. Then a big onion cut into small cubes. Fry all of these ingredients together for about 10 minutes, stirring occasionally, until the onion wilts and the meat changes color. After 10 minutes you add a large tomato, finely chopped, and you distribute it over the pieces of meat. The roll of the tomato helps to curdle the broth. For this tagine we have a variety of vegetables. Any type of seasonal vegetables you own can be used. 200 grams of green beans well distributed and arranged. 2 carrots cut in thin form and a little long piece. It is better to have the vegetables cut to the same size to preserve the aesthetics of the tagine presentation. Add 1 zucchini cut to the carrot's shape. "200 grams of peas to distribute over the vegetables already placed, keep a little for later. Then add 2 potatoes, cut into quarters. Continually distribute the vegetables in a harmonious and admirable way, then, put the rest of peas. After that, you close the tagine in clay, and you reduce the temperature to a low heat. When the tagine dish reaches a boil, and to prevent the broth from leaking, as a technique, you use a tablespoon in this manner. At this level, we sprinkle the rest of the vegetables with the broth until they take their share of the flavor broth and get the delicious taste of the tagine. The cooking time varies depending on the meat quality, from an hour to an hour and a half. When finished cooking, add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil to increase the nutritional and hygienic value of this dish. Then decorate it with the rest of parsley and coriander. And as we say in Morocco, enjoy your tagine with health and well-being. Tagine with chicken and vegetables. Welcome to a new recipe of Moroccan Food Channel. Today we present to you tagine souci from the south of Morocco, the region of Agadir and its surroundings. Despite its simplicity, this recipe is typical and delicious, in which salty vegetables are combined with sweet dried plums, giving them a distinct taste. Depending on your choice, you can use for this tagine, veal or lamb. Before you start, a word of advice. The use of the tagine must not be in direct contact with the fire. And the fire must be very low, so that the cooking is perfect on the one hand, and to avoid cracks in the tagine on the other hand. Here are the ingredients and the process. We will use the chicken after it has been well cleaned with salt and lemon. The chicken skin is peeled or left to taste, with a preference to delete it. We put pieces of chicken in spices consisting of a teaspoon and a half of ginger, a teaspoon of black pepper, and a little salt to taste. 4 garlic cloves, chopped. a teaspoon of turmeric. Add a few strands of natural saffron in a little water. Put a little saffron water in the mixture. And leave the rest for later. We should place pieces of chicken in these spices for 10 minutes to 20 minutes. Heat the tagine over low heat and add a quarter cup of the mixture of olive oil and edible oil. Put the chicken pieces. Then turn them on all sides until the chicken turns white for about 6 minutes. After that, add a medium onion in the form of small cubes. Then put 3 tomato seeds cut into small cubes. The tomatoes help the broth to curdle. Two medium onions, cut lengthwise, to place over tomatoes. Then we start to organize the available vegetables. For this plate we have carrots cut lengthwise. And then potatoes cut in half. After that, put the left saffron water and the remaining spices from the chicken nuggets over the vegetables, so that the vegetables take their share of the spices. Then, we add peas. At the end we put the plums on the tagine. The particularity of the Soucy Berber tagine is this mixture of salty and sweet taste, which gives it an original flavor and a lovely aftertaste. Then we cover the tagine and let it cook. The cooking time is from an hour to an hour and a half on very low heat. Occasionally, sprinkle the vegetables with the broth on the sides, so that the vegetables benefit from the flavor of the spices and the chicken. When it's almost ready, add the green olives. When the tagine dries up from the water and the broth curdles, place some fresh parsley leaves over the tagine. After that we add drops of olive oil or argan oil. Argan oil is very popular in the Sousse region. This oil offers a dissimilar flavor and unique health benefits. And as we say in Morocco, enjoy your tagine with health and well-being. Moroccan soup or harira is a dish most consumed in Moroccan cuisine. In the holy month of Ramadan, harira is an essential dish for the Moroccan family's tables, given its richness, and of course, for its distinct taste and flavor. We will see together in this video how to prepare it. Knowing that the way of cooking the Moroccan harira differs from one region to another, yet the taste is always delicious. These are the ingredients. 5 seeds of crushed tomatoes should be boiled and crushed. The usage of tomatoes in harira has a major role in its flavor and also in adding the color. If we prepare it, we can do without the industrial tomato sauce. Three tablespoons of concentrated tomatoes. 200 grams of meat. The quantity and shape of slicing the pieces of meat depends on your choice. Onion cut into small, thin cubes. A bunch of coriander and parsley, and a bunch of celery. 200 grams of chickpeas soaked overnight. 100 grams of lentils. 100 grams of vermicelli or rice. 5 tablespoons of confectionery white flour. As an important reminder, the quantity of flour used depends on how we want the soup to be. If we prefer it to be light, it is better to use less flour. 4 tablespoons of mixed edible oil and olive oil. A tablespoon of ghee. A teaspoon of turmeric. A teaspoon of ginger. A teaspoon of black or white pepper. For our recipe we have combined them. Half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. A tablespoon of salt or to taste. 2.5 liters of water. Half a large glass of water to mix the flour. So let us make the harira. In a pressure cooker, we put the oil. Then the onion. After that the chickpeas. Then the celery. The coriander and parsley. We should leave a little parsley for the end. Lentils. Pieces of meat. Then turmeric. Ginger. Then black and white pepper. And a little of ghee. Let it boiling until the elements are combined. After that, we add 2.5 liters of boiling water. And we close the pot for 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Until the meat and chickpeas are tenders. Then add the tomato sauce. We take half a large cup of water, and melt the quantity of flour in it. We should stir constantly until we get a homogeneous white mixture. Then we add the concentrated tomatoes to the mixture, in order to dissolve them well. Stirring is also to avoid the formation of small particles of flour. and at that time pour the flour mixture. The vermicelli, the cinnamon and the ghee in the pan, keep stirring. We let it boil until we see the foam turn from white to red or orange. Then, when we notice that the harira is cooked, we add the coriander that we left before. In the end, as you can see, we get distinct and delicious harira. For those who prefer it lighter, as we mentioned before, just reduce the quantity of flour. As is customary in the Moroccan table, we accompanied it with lemon, which adds a special flavor. The side states. With a sweet chivakia, which we will soon display on your channel Moroccan Food. So, this is our delicious Moroccan dish today. I hope you like it and I wish to see your opinion through the comments. Waiting for a new dish. I tell you the famous saying in Morocco. Good appetite with health and wellness.
Today's plate is Moroccan couscous, considered the most famous Moroccan dish. And it has a worldwide reputation. Moroccan couscous is closely linked to the authentic cultural heritage of the country. Incontestably, it is the #1 meal in Moroccan cuisine. As long as this recipe is part of the distinct Moroccan cooking. The preparation of this delicious plate is varied and rich, which differs from region to region. Today we will introduce you to the process of cooking Moroccan couscous with meat and vegetables, in a simple and step-by-step way. Ingredients. One kilogram of lamb, or according to family members. Kilo of couscous, or depending to family members. 4 medium-sized carrot kernels. 4 zucchini. 2 onions, medium size. 2 medium-sized tomatoes. 2 chopped medium tomatoes. A piece of red pumpkin. 2 turnips. A piece of cabbage. A bunch of cilantro and parsley. 250 grams of chickpeas soaked in water overnight. Spices. Since couscous requires a lot of broth, so we need a lot of spices. Spoonful of turmeric. Spoonful of ginger. Spoonful of black or white pepper. The quantity of salt depends on taste. A teaspoon of ghee, or to taste. A glass of oil, a mixture of table oil and olive oil. A little olive oil to mix with the couscous later. Let's prepare couscous together. We take a pressure cooker and put the meat in it. We cut the onion in thin slices. In this shape. After that we bring tomatoes. Remove the skin and seeds. Then cut them into small pieces. Now we put it in the pan. At this point we add the oil and immediately after we add the spices. Then a teaspoon of ghee. We place the pot and its contents on the fire. We stir the mixture. After the contents are fried for a short time. And after that the spices are melted with onions and meat. We add about 1 liter of previously boiled water. Note that couscous requires water. The quantity of water is related to the quantity of couscous and vegetables used. While we are waiting, we prepare the vegetables. Leave the pan on the heat until it boils. When we notice that the contents of the pot have started to boil, we add the vegetables. We always start with the ones which take a long time to cook. The first we add are chickpeas. Then the carrots. Then the turnip. And then the cabbage. Immediately we close the pot and let the contents cook. Prepare the couscous. People have different tastes about couscous semolina. There are those who prefer it thicker and those who like fine couscous. For us in this dish we will use couscous semolina of medium size. After adding the couscous, gradually add the water, stirring, until all the semolina is moist. Adding water gradually helps us to balance between not having a lot of water and at the same time not letting the couscous dry. For a medium-sized couscous, the steaming process usually necessitates 3 operations. We only add water during the first and second operation, while in the third process we additionally add water, oil, and salt. Immediately after, we take the couscous cooker and put the rest of the vegetables in it. Green pumpkin, red gourd, then we open the pressure cooker and take broth from it. We add coriander and parsley. One of the secrets that helps to obtain a brilliant couscous broth is to add the chopped tomatoes. After the first couscous steaming process in the upper part of the couscous cooker, which lasted about a quarter of an hour, we prepare couscous for the second evaporation process. We try to remove all the small balls of couscous grains. As for the first procedure, we gradually add water and stir the couscous. We continue to spray the water gradually, mixing and stirring. When the couscous steaming process is finished, we start the third and final process. Unlike the first and the second, we add a little olive oil. Obviously water too. There are those who prefer to add butter. Others who prefer to add ghee. But I do prefer olive oil for its flavor and its benefit. Immediately add a little salt. Then we mix everything. After completing the third couscous steaming process, we move on to the final act. Put the couscous in the clay bowl or plate. During the final presentation, it is better to not stir the couscous too much. And do not put too much pressure on the couscous while stirring, so that the broth is well absorbed by its grains. We try to get the demonstration presentable and enjoyable. As you can see, the broth in the couscous mold is curdled and smells good. The same goes for meat broth. During the final placement process, slightly empty the center of the bowl. We start by placing the contents of the first cooker, the meat, then the carrots and turnips, while taking care of the aesthetic aspect of the appearance. After that we move on to the contents of the couscous cooker. Cabbage, green pumpkin, red gourd, Immediately after that, we start to water the bowl of couscous with sauce and chickpeas. As you can see, this is the final shape of the Moroccan couscous dish with meat and vegetables. Hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to a new Moroccan traditional dish. I bid you farewell by the well-known saying in Morocco. Enjoy the couscous, good appetite with health and well-being.